Harlem in the 1920s wasn't just music, culture, and bright lights. Beneath the surface, it was powered by something else. Money. Not legal money. Hidden money. Illegal money flowing through an underground system known as the numbers game. It looks simple on the outside. Pick a 3-digit number, place a small bet, and if your number hit, you could win big. But in reality, it was much more than gambling. For many people in Harlem, it was survival. Banks often refused to serve Black communities, so this system became an unofficial economy. It helped people pay rent, feed their families, and even start businesses. Millions of dollars moved through Harlem every single day, and whoever controlled that money controlled Harlem itself. And that's where she comes in. Her name was Stephanie St. Clair, a Black woman, an immigrant from the Caribbean, in a time when both her race and her gender were used against her at every level of society. But despite all of that, she built something powerful, something untouchable. She didn't just participate in the numbers game, she mastered it. Stephanie created a network that stretched across Harlem. She hired runners who collected bets, bankers who handled the money, and enforcers who made sure everything ran smoothly. But what truly set her apart was trust. In an illegal business where cheating was common, Stephanie paid out winnings honestly. Every time, that reputation spread fast. People didn't just play her numbers. They believed in her. And because traditional banks wouldn't help the community, she became something even bigger. She became a financial lifeline. Her operation funded local businesses, created jobs, and kept money circulating within Harlem itself. Soon, she wasn't just known as a numbers runner. She became the queen. But power like that doesn't stay hidden forever. As the 1930s approached, the landscape of crime in New York began to shift. Prohibition was ending, and the mafia needed new ways to make money. That's when they looked uptown and saw Harlem, a neighborhood already generating millions through an illegal system they didn't control. To them, it wasn't just an opportunity, it was a target, and leading that push was one of the most feared gangsters in the city. Dot Schultz, didn't ask for permission. He didn't try to negotiate. His strategy was simple: take over everything. His men began moving into Harlem, targeting smaller numbers, operators first. They used threats, violence, and intimidation. Some bankers were beaten, others were kidnapped, and some simply disappeared. One by one, operators either joined Schultz or were removed. But Stephanie St. Clair wasn't like the others. She refused to bow down. Instead of going quiet, she did something that shocked everyone. She went public. Stephanie took her fight to the newspapers, exposing police officers who were taking bribes from the mob. She called out corruption by name, placing ads and statements that directly challenged both law enforcement and organized crime. In a world where silence meant survival, she made as much noise as possible. She turned the spotlight on to the very people who depended on the shadows. And behind her, she had someone just as dangerous: Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy wasn't just muscle. He was smart, calculated, and loyal. Together, they built resistance. They applied pressure to anyone working with Schultz. They used influence, strategy, and force when necessary. More importantly, they had the support of the community. Harlem wasn't just territory to them, it was home. And many people weren't willing to hand it over to outside control for a moment. It looked like a full war was about to break out. But then everything changed. Not because of Stephanie, not because of Harlem, but because of the mob itself. In 1935, Dutch Schultz was assassinated by rival gangsters. His plans to completely take over Harlem died with him. Just like that, the immediate threat was gone. Stephanie had stood her ground and survived. But the story doesn't end with a clean victory. Even after Schultz's death, organized crime didn't disappear. The mafia still found ways to influence Harlem's underground economy. Over time, control slowly shifted. The system Stephanie built would never fully return to what it once was. Still, what she accomplished was something few people in her position ever did. She fought back, not just against gangsters, but against an entire system stacked against her. She challenged corruption, exposed injustice, and built an empire in a world that tried to deny her any power at all. She wasn't just a criminal figure. She was a businesswoman, a protector of her community, and one of the only people bold enough to stand in front of the mob and refuse to move. And for a time in history, Harlem belonged to her.